you are doing some reply back from there. Okay, and for a class, if sometimes if there is no class also, I will intimate you there. If there is any number missing, just ping here. Vijay can add that group. All of you received the invitation WhatsApp group. If not, just ping here. Yes, Bharat. You're the new joining. Okay. Okay. Teja, can you notate those numbers and add it in that group? Okay, good. Okay, guys. So those who are in this group new joinee, now try to understand today class and take all the previous sessions, recording sessions, and go through that sessions. If you are facing any issues and if you are not understanding, just ping me in WhatsApp for any issues, or if you are nearby this Teja or Kalyan, anyone who already attended in session, so you can take the help from them. Okay. Okay. So actually, I'm still facing my laptop issues. Not sure that how it will work today properly. Okay. Let's start the today's session. Yesterday we stopped somewhere, right? We did not. Teja, can you do the recording from your side? Is it possible? I think you must be able to do it. Can you try once? Yeah, yeah, please do it. I'm not doing. Okay. 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 So basically, this session is about how to design an API from end to end for a flights API. So it's like we need to get some flights availability information with three different type of airlines, United, American, and Delta. And these three different type of airlines, they were maintaining their data at their systems, and they are giving connections in different formats. Like if you want to get some information from the United Airlines, you need to interact only with the HTTP REST service only, because they exposed a REST service. All their information they exposed it as a RESTful service, and they are giving for us to consume that. Like that, if you see that American airline system, they maintained all their data in their database, and they did not expose to any web service or API. So you can directly interact with them using the database connection. So they are providing the database connections which you can connect, and you can get the data from their American airline system. And the third one is the Delta. Delta one also, they are maintaining their data in their system. So it can be any kind of database or SAP or whatever it is. We don't know about that, what format they are maintaining. But when it comes to us, they are giving a web service. So they exposed all their data as the web service, which can be consumed by some other middleware tools or front-end service. So that is a web service consumer. So we can use the web service consumer to connect their system and get the data from there. So these are the connectivity details. You can connect the three different kind of airlines and get the data from them. Okay, so now you have all the connections in your hand. You need to connect each and every system and get the flights availability in their system. So that is what your task. So once you are able to get that information from their system, then you expose it an API, and then you can give it to the front end system. Okay, so what you are doing here, you are getting data from three different type of airlines and merging and give it to the front end system, and you expose it an API. So everyone can consume this API, and whoever interested, they can consume, and they can even in your mobile also you can I mean, if you expose some API, it can be from laptop or mobile, everyone can consume, and they can get the data from there. So you can easily check there um, what are the flights availability at the time, or from the different airlines, United or American Delta. So you can see that flights availability in there. So to connect their system, so what are the connections? So as I said, the first one, what is this? United. So this, I said it is a RESTful service. So if you see that the connection details for the United, so this is the United, the RESTful web service. So they have given this web service, that's it. They did not given any other details. So they exposed their data as an web service, sorry, RESTful service, and they have given endpoint URL. So this is the RESTful service URL. And Delta Airlines, so they give it as a web service. So this is the web service endpoint. So we need to consume this web service endpoint and get the data of whatever required from that Delta Airlines. And coming to the American Airlines, so they did not expose any web service or REST service. So they are directly giving their MySQL database connections. So you can directly interact with their system using these details. So for that SQL database, you need a server, port, username, password, and a database, and what is the table name you need to connect. So not only this, in the when you are working in some projects, when you want to connect any kind of database, you need to ask these details to provide them. So once you have all these details in your hand, so you can start easily connect to the any database, and then you can get the data from the systems. Okay, now we are going to see that how to connect a RESTful service, how to consume a RESTful service, and then how to consume a web service, and then how to consume a SQL database. So three different kind of connectors we are going to use it to implement this API, and we will be learning all these things. Okay, and apart from the connections, what you are going to learn? You are going to learn how to build an API, okay, using the RAML. We already know that how to create a RAML file and all. So for this also we are going to create a RAML file first. So you are going to design the API first, and then you are going to implement the API backend connections. Okay. So first let's go to the Anypoint Studio. Go to your Anypoint Studio and start with the new project. So file, and then click new, and then Mule project. Okay, let's give some name. So here I'm giving a flights API. Okay, then click on finish. So it will open an XML flights API.xml file for you, and it is an empty, nothing is here, there is no flows implemented here. Okay, so you can start using HTTP connector, drag and drop here. You can implement like that also, but what we are doing, we are going to design an API using the RAML. So first we need to write the YAML file, create a YAML file. Using that YAML file, you are going to generate the flow. Okay. So whenever you start creating API, follow this procedure. Go to the YAML definition. Okay. So we'll give the same name, flights API. You can give it some other name also. So if you are giving some other name, some simple API, so there will be one more XML. We will create separate XML, API.xml. Whatever the name you are giving here, when you are generating the flow, it will come under that same with the same name only. So since I already have one XML, flights API.xml, and I want to generate the flows inside that only, I have given the YAML file name also as it is. Okay. So if you see that where your YAML is going to create, so whenever you create the YAML file, it will come under the SRC main API. Okay. The API, under the API folder, it will get create. Let's click on the finish. Okay. Now you need to start writing code. And this is not like I mean, it's very easy code. As I said, it's a simple code. You need to write some get, post, or put and delete methods. Mainly we use these 4 type of operations: get, post, put, and delete. So get is for to get the data from the different kind of systems, any whatever the system you are going to interact. And the post is to create new records in the system. And put is to update your records, and delete is to delete the records. You just think about your SQL, how you are doing some queries. So like the same way only. So get is like select, and put is like insert. I mean post is like insert, and put is like update, and delete is like delete. In SQL database, how we perform some operations, right? All this. The same way we implement the operations in while designing the API. Okay. So I'm clear here. I need to use the get operation because I need to get the information from the 3 different kind of systems. Okay, so I need to implement the get operation. That's fine. And what are the resources? As I said, while designing the API, you need to mention the resources. This is the root, YAML and title, and base URI. It will come under root. Okay, under that you can have some resources. So for this, I'm giving flights resource. Okay, so under the flights resource, how many different kind of airlines we have? We have 3 different kind of airlines. So now you take that 3 different kind of airlines as 3 different resources. Okay, and when you are giving next under that, if you want to create the resource under the primary resource flights, give you a tab. Okay, now what are that we have? American. This is one resource, and the second resource is one second. And then what is that? Another one, United, right? Okay. Okay. Now you have, I mean, the structure is ready. Now inside that, what are the operations you are going to perform? These are the resources. We call it as resources. Okay. So under each and every resource, what are the operations you are going to perform? So I want to perform a get operation. So put a tab and give it get. Okay. And then under get, how the structure it will be? So we get responses, right? 200 responses. 200. Under 200 there will be a body we receive, and what is the body format you need to mention? Application slash JSON. Okay, that's it. Just copy paste the same for remaining resources. Give you a tab, paste it, tab, paste it. That's it. Okay, we will add on top of this later, but for now to design the API to start API, this is enough. So our expectation is done. We need 3 resources: American, Delta, United under the flights resource, and each and every resource I'm expecting a get operation to get the data from the different backend systems. So when I perform get operations, I no need to pass any body, no need to pass any request, but I will get a response back. So to hold that response, you need to give some response tag, and then 200 is the status code for success, and body is when you are getting the response back, it will come with some payload. So, and that payload format, you are saying that application as JSON format. Okay, that's it. Your code is done. Now come back to the flights API .xml. So there is nothing here. Now you need to start building the flow. How to build the flow? So you don't need to manually create any HTTP connects, drag and drop and all. So since you already done with the creating RAML, and based on this RAML structure, you need to generate the flow. That is what you are doing here. So just right click on this, your RAML file, go here any point platform, Mule. If you can see that generate flows from RAML. RAML means RESTful API Modeling Language. Okay. So it will generate a REST-based services. To create the RESTful API services, you can use this modeling language. Just click on your flows will automatically get generated. You see that? You did not create, you didn't drag any HTTP listener and all. So it gave a basic structure for you. So on top of that, you can start building it. And we have already seen that how this flow structure will generate based on the RAML. So there will be a main flow which accepts all your requests, okay, on this endpoint. So what is the endpoint here? It's a HTTP localhost 8081. If you click on edit, you can see that HTTP. So either you can put all interface or localhost, both are same thing, and 8081. And what is the path? /API/star. So you are giving star. That means after the API, you are saying something. So that extra path also there, like that you are saying. It can accept any path after the API. So after the API, what are the paths I'm going to connect? So after the API /flights/American, this is one path. And what is one more endpoint? After API /flights/delta. This is another endpoint. And one more endpoint is API /flight/United. So these are the 3 endpoints, okay, which I exposed. So if you see that the structure, how you implemented, the flows got generated same way. So you have given all 3 get methods only, get for United, Delta, American. So the same way flows got created, one for Delta, American, Delta, and then United. So get under the flights only. So this all United, Delta, American, under which resource? If you see that, it is under flights resource. So it's got created same way. Okay. Now you half of your work is done. Your API is generated. Now we can start run the application. We can test it. So to see in browser, we need to enable the console, right? This is optional. Either you can enable it or not. But I want to see the API in browser, so that's what I'm enabling here. Okay, use console. Just click here. This is under Flights API console flow. Okay, once you've done that, just right click on first Flights API.xml. Okay, now where is that? Run as Mule application. So far is with everything clear, or do you have any doubts? Okay, now my application got deployed. Now you see that API kit console automatically showing that. I can see here also, but I don't want to test it here. I'm leaving here and I'm going to my browser. Okay, I want to open the same console in the browser. The same console will open in the browser, right? HTTP localhost and what is the port number? 8081 slash API slash console. Okay, so now if you see that API got created with the resources, flights resource. Under the flights resource will be American, Delta, United. Three different kind of operation. If you see the three get methods only. We are not using any post or because we need to read only. We want to see that only flights availability. That's it. Okay. Now if you see that some name sample API, this you need to change it, right? So you can change that in YAML file and you can run it. So this is right sample. We'll say that flights API. Okay. So once this change done, we again just generate it. Or if you rerun the application also, it will automatically work. Okay. For now I'm doing this again. Did not apply. Okay. We just stop this one, terminate it, and just terminate it and rerun it if it is not affect. If you see that inside the main flow, there will be API kit router. So what this will do, API kit router. So the initial request will come under this primary listener. This is the main listener. So once it comes, the API kit router will decide that where it needs to go based on your path. Okay. So if it is American related request, so it will send to this flow. If it is Delta, it will send to this flow like that. So which flow it needs to route based on that URL request, this API kit router will route that message to that corresponding flow. Okay, that is the usage of this API kit router. Okay, so let's get updated. Okay, now let's see if we can test it from here from the console. You can do a try from console. If you see that, try it. That means you can test it once. So since it is a get, just click on the get. You don't need to pass any body. You see that there is no response, right? Because we did not set any response. Still, we are not going to connect any backend system to get the response back. Okay. In such cases, you can put some dummy response if you want to see in console. So by using the example tag already showed, right? In the here, if you put some example tag and give it some example, you can display it. Okay. But since we already have, backend details, we'll connect directly with the backend system. So no need to put any examples right now. Okay. So see that the set payload is something empty here. That's what we are getting, empty response. Yeah, null payload. That's what we are getting, the null payload. So I don't want to execute this set payload. So instead of that, I want to connect with the American system, American Airlines system. So what is the connector I want to use to connect the American Airlines first of all? So it is the database connector, right? So you have all the details. So let's use the database connector. Hold on this and drag and drop it here. Okay. Okay. Now if you see that attribute configuration is required, so this is the required parameter. So click on the add button, select MySQL configuration. So if it is not MySQL, some Oracle or some other, if you want to connect a IBM database, okay, you can use the generic database configuration. Okay. Now you can use MySQL configuration. Click on OK. Okay. So we need to pass all these details. So do we have all these details? Yes, we do have all these details. So get all the details from there. This is my server. This is my port. And password also same. And the database is training. Okay. Training is the database name. If you see here, it is complaining that MySQL driver is missing. So when you are seeing this kind of error, some driver is missing, you need to add some jar files. Okay. So you need to you can download this SQL driver from Google also. Okay. Anyhow, I will be sharing today this with the PP along with the PPT. I will share this driver also, so you can use it. But no, I think I must have. Let me check. Mm, yes, I have the driver. Okay, so MySQL, this is the one. Okay, you just need to add this. So if you see that error gone automatically. Okay, now just click on the test connection. So I will share that zip file. So whatever the jar files required. Test connection successful. Okay, click on OK. Still there is some error, right? That means you need to select some operation here. So your connection is done, but what are the operations you are going to connect? So and also we'll guess, we'll give some name. What is that? Okay. So now select the operation. It is select. Okay. And you need to write the query also, right? What you are going to select. So select the star from where you need to select. You need to find the table. What is the table? Flights. That's it. A simple select query used. Did not select. Yes, now it's gone. Okay. So if you see that it will get automatically started and running it in the console. You don't need to start it back. You can also delete this set payload because we are not doing anything with this. You can delete this one. You can simply keep the only. Now let's go to your browser and just refresh this and see. So what is the American, right? We have done with the American Airlines. Now you perform get operation. You see, we got some response back. So it directly went to the database and it pulled the data from the database and displayed in the JSON format. See how many records are there. There are so many records are there. Okay. So you are able to connect with the database system, which is hosted in somewhere, not in my local. Okay, that was hosted in somewhere. If you see that connection details, I already showed, right? So this is hosted in the server is hosted in somewhere. So I could able to connect that database system and get the data, okay, and show it to the front-end system. Okay. And if you want to see only particularly United Flights, you can remove this console. Sorry, American Flights, right? what is the path? Flight slash American. That means without the console. Now you are not going through the console. So you are directly going to the endpoint and you are getting the data. The same data you can try it in Postman also. You can see that in the browser or Postman. Browser get method you can use it, but post method you cannot use using the browser, right? For that reason we are using the Postman. In Postman you can perform get, post, any method. You can pass some body using the Postman. But if you take the browser you cannot do it because you need to create some UI, and in that UI you need to pass some parameters like that. So now we are not going to do that front end work and all. So for testing purpose you can use the Postman or okay. So as I said, orders API slash flights slash American. So hope you understand that how I got this path. If you're not, you just go here. Okay. Even by seeing the YAML also you can understand. API slash flights slash American. So this is the path. Inside that get method. Okay. API slash flight slash American, and the method should be get method. Okay. Now you are sending it. You can see the same data here also. Yep. Okay. So these are different plain type code, different kind of information availability here. The status code 200. Okay. Now let's see if you can hit the delta also. What is that? Delta. Shall we get something back? No. You're getting empty response because it was not implemented. Now let's start implementing the delta as well. Go to the delta flow. Here is my delta flow. So now I want to connect the delta system, airline system. So to connect the delta airline system, do I have the information? Yes, I do have the information. What is that? It is the web service URL. So to connect the web service URL from MuleSoft, Mule Anypoint Studio, so do you have any connector? We have one connector that is called web service consumer. So use the web service consumer in Anypoint Studio, drag and drop it here. Okay. Now just click on the add. Okay. So what it is expecting? It is expecting a visitor location. So do I have that visitor? I have only endpoint. I have only endpoint. This is my endpoint. Just copy paste this endpoint, paste it here. Since it is expecting visitor, you must keep question mark visitor, question mark WSDL. Okay, so once you give like that, it will get automatically load everything, service, port and address. Okay, you can reload the visitor also if you want to see again. Okay, now it is done. You're able to connect the web service. Now you can see different kind of operations available in that web service. What are that? Find flight. So this is if you want to get for particular flight information, you can use this method. But now I want list all flights. So I'm selecting list all flights. Okay. Just save it. Since you don't require the set payload, you can remove this. Okay. Control S. Go to the console, it start building your application and it will deploy that again. it will redeploy. So as I said, you can use any way, the browser or console or anything to test the application. Okay. So console just will display the RAML design, how it is look like with the resource names and what are the operations available like that. So you cannot give console slash flight slash American. Okay, remove the console and give the flight slash American or flight slash Delta, something like that. If you want to go through the console, you can go to console and then click on whatever the one. So which one we implemented? We implemented United or Delta. So go to Delta, click on the get method. So there is an error here. What is that? Okay, this is parse error. So you just use some component to show properly. Use down to XML. This is web service, right? Use this component and see if it works. You can also clear your console if you don't want to see that. There is an option console clear. So you can see here clear console. But even that you can clear everything. Okay. So it is Delta. Click on the Delta and click on get. Now you can see that, right? So you got the response back and it is like some XML. You can also perform here also. When we tested previous, it was empty record. Now we implemented, so you can see that click on XML so that you can see properly. Okay, we got the 200 response and with multiple records. But we want to see that as a JSON. That's why it is showing something like this XML. So you can also do XML to JSON or something. XML to JSON. So these are the different kind of transformers. Okay. Now you got the response as an XML, but if you want to see as a JSON, convert that XML format to JSON. So XML will come as a tags, okay, opening and closing tags. Okay, now you just send again. See, your response got changed. So you didn't do anything. It's very simple. You just used one existing component, converting that XML to the JSON. It's got converted automatically. Okay. I think you don't require this DOM to XML also. I think so, but we'll see later. But for now, we have the data, right? So we have everything. So now you have delta response back, and what is one more you have? Let me remove this. API slash flights, and the method is get. Make sure your operation, what you are going to perform, either get or post, without changing this, and if you are trying, you will not get the proper response back. So now I can able to hit my American database and Delta airline system back. Okay. So far we learned that how to interact a database system and how to interact a web service consumer, right? Now what is pending? One more is there, right? What is that? United, right? United. Just check if you get something. So it is an empty because we haven't connected with the backend system. So now you need to connect with the backend system. This is the flow. Where is that flow? United. This is the United flow. So now you go and check that. So do I have the connection details for this United Airlines? Yes, I have that, and that is a RESTful web service, right? So to connect the RESTful web service, what is the connector in MuleTraining? So to connect the RESTful service, the connector is HTTP only. Okay. If you place the HTTP connector at starting, it will behave like a HTTP listener. Okay. And if you place the HTTP connector, in the flow middle, it behaves like a HTTP requester connector. That means you can consume a RESTful web service using this HTTP. So I will show you the difference here. If you see that HTTP listener configuration, and one more, you can see that HTTP requester. HTTP requester. It will behave like a HTTP requester if you place a middle of the flow. If you place initially, that will behave like a HTTP listener. The same connector. Okay. Now you double click this and do configuration. To do this configuration, just click on add. So do we have all these details? Host, port, and base path. We have only endpoint. Just paste it here. And it is showing here, right? HTTP. Since it is already here HTTP selected, you don't require this HTTP :path. And you need to mention only host. You don't require this. Just cut here and then paste it in the base path. For port, you can give it as a 80. Default path is 80. Okay. So this is my host, this is my port, and this is my path. Okay. Now what I need to give it here, since I already gave it as a base path, I don't have any extend path, just give it a slash. So this will take whatever the base path we set, that will be the actual path. It will consider like that. Okay. So this will take this one. Okay. After flights, if you are sending, if you need something, if you're passing flight information or destination, okay, airline destination something, then that you need to specify here. Now what is the method I want to perform? It should be a get method. Okay. Now if you see the console, it will get start automatically. Since we already ran the application and it was in running mode, so it will do that restart, rebuild your application and redeploy it. For that you don't need to do anything. If you do any small change also, it will start redeploy your application. Okay, started. My application got started, right? So once the application got started, I can go to the postman, and then I can now perform the same action again. So I want to test whether that my United flow is working properly, I mean getting response back or not. Cool. I can able to get the response back from the United flow. Right? So now you got information United. And the American flights. And then this one. Okay. So one of the task is completed. So individually you are able to get the 3 flights information. But actual API which I want to design is I want my API, if I give something all, okay, that means it should merge all these 3 requests responses back from this United, American and Delta, and then show it to the front end system. Let's say American Airlines, I have 10 flights availability information, and Delta there will be 5 flights availability information, and then United there will be 10 flights information. So when I click all, okay, flights all, then I need to show all the 3 airline system flights availability information. I want to see it as a single JSON format or XML format. Okay, and if you see that API console also, it is fine, right? The console got properly opening, and you can see that American, Delta, and this one. Okay. Any doubts so far? So from console also you can perform all these get operations. American, Delta. See, we're not using anything different from Postman or browser. See, if you read what is the path, the same path we hit from the Postman. Okay, we did not do any changes in that. But the console is the look and feel, and you can exactly see what are the resources and all, what is the status code. Okay, so for that API kit router comes with a console, so that you are using. So my Delta is working, and then United also I can do it, try. Okay, I got whole information here. Okay, let me rewind today class what we did. So we have designed a RAML API, so that takes connecting to the 3 different kind of airline systems, United, American and Delta, with the 3 different kind of uh, destinations, which is database and RESTful service and web services, and we connected it and we were able to get the information individually. Okay, so for that we have connection informations, and first we designed the RAML API, and we took flights as a main resource. Under the flights main resource we kept 3 main sub resources that are American, Delta and United. Okay, under these we kept get operations for these get operations, and once you perform the get operation you will get the response back. So for that we are saying that responses tag, and then that will be a 200 status code, and then a body, and then an application slash JSON. So since we have given here JSON, we are able to see everything as a JSON format, right? So this is the one you have. So once we have done this RAML API, we just right click the RAML API, and then what we did, we go to the Mule and then generate flows from RAML. So this is the next step we done. So inside the flights API, there are 3 flows automatically got generated. These are for American, Delta data and united. So these all got generated automatic, and there will be a main flow, flights API main flow. So the first request will come here, and then it will be routed to the API kit router, and then it will be sent it to the, yeah, based on your request, it will be routed to the corresponding flow. Okay. Now if I want to see that whether my request is coming properly here or not, right? So just terminate this one. Whenever you want to go into another mode, just terminate the existing console, and now you can run the debug mode. Now you can run the debug mode your application. So I'm keeping a breakpoint here in this flow, and one more breakpoint in another flow. So if you see that when I ran into the debug mode, it got changed from Mule design mode to the Mule debugger mode, right? And right click here, toggle the breakpoint. Here also you can toggle the break. Yes, you can remove this set payload also. Even if you are keeping also, there will be no harm, but it's not required. Since it is not required, you can remove it. But for now, anyhow, we'll remove it later. I'm keeping here. Okay. Now you go to the flow. Either you can run it from console or you can run it from the postman. Now I'm running. I would like to run it from the postman. Just click on send button. You will not see any response back immediately, and it will show it as a sendings. Okay, until you go on to any point studio and resume your flow. Okay, so where it came, if you see that, it directly came to the flights delta. Since you hit the delta endpoint, it came to the delta path, right? Now you can see that format of response, how it is coming. So basically it is coming like this depth XML stream reader. So that's why we converted that into XML. So this is XML, you can see that, and then JSON format. That's it. So you can see the response back here. Okay. Now you try with American flow, whether it is going to the American flow or not. Click here and see. Yeah, it came to my American flow. Flight/American. Now just click next. Since there is no other message processor, it directly jump into the postman response. Now let's click on this United. Okay, it came to the United path, and then you got the response. Okay. Any doubts so far? Today class is done. You can ask me any doubts if there. Vijay, can you stop the recording session?